Life is easy when you're upon the mountain. Peace of mind, you'll never know. Then things change out in the valley. Don't lose faith, you're never alone. Oh, the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. Things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. God of the day is still God in the night. Talk of faith when you're up on the mountain. All comes easy, life's at its best. Others down in the valley, trials and temptations. That's when faith is really put to the test. Oh, the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. God of the day is still God in the night. God of the day is still God in the night.
All right, I think we're back here. Good evening, everybody. Jeff Arrington again here from Scott County, Virginia, broadcasting to you live from the community of Hiltons. Speaking on behalf of the Scott County VA gun owners, wanted to come live again tonight and have a few comments. This isn't going to be a very long video. Give you guys a quick few updates, talk about what's going on in Scott County, Virginia. And again, we had a good show the other night, interviewing with Todd Pillion, and who's our state senator, and our delegate Terry Kilgore. So if you have a chance, go back and watch that. It was some really good information talking about how the process moves forward with the bills that have been passed in the House and the Senate, how the governor can amend those, if they do amend those, how that works and how it comes back. So if y'all noticed on the little intro video there, we did kind of switch the song up today. I thought that was an appropriate song, the God of the Mountain. We are certainly going through a difficult time, I think, right now as a country with what's going on. There's a lot happening economically for a lot of folks, or jobs, or people are losing jobs. We know there's been a lot of unemployment that was turned in this past week. Some businesses are shutting their doors or having to find innovative ways to continue to make some sort of income to be able to pay for their employees. So I thought that song was appropriate to let us all know that, listen, a couple of weeks ago when things were better than they are right now, don't lose faith. The God that we had a few weeks ago, 1,000 years ago, or 1,000 years from now, it's the same God, no matter what it is. When we're in the valleys, when we're on the mountaintops. So we might be down a little bit of a valley right now, but we're doing good. So seeing who all's on the house, we've got, looks like we've got 16, 17 online here. Veronica in St. Clair. So we said the National Guard is deployed in Wausau, Wisconsin. Interesting. That's the first time. Have you heard about that, Jason?
I have heard about Wisconsin. California was doing the same.
So California's doing something similar. We do have Wilson in the house tonight, guys. So give a shout out to Wilson if y'all want to. I know we've missed him for several of the last few videos. Mulehead's good to see you listening in. Like you said, you'd try to catch it tomorrow, but I'm glad to see you made it tonight. David Fodder, great to hear from you. Cindy, DeLynn, It's great to see everybody. So everybody's doing well. Again, tonight wasn't going to be a very, very long video. To be honest with you, this is actually kind of a quick second to put something together. But I did want to give you guys a couple of just information, some informative updates of what's happening in Scott County. So like the rest of the Commonwealth of Virginia, if you've not been following along, there is a recommendation from the government from coming out of Richmond that initially started as, they wanted to be groups less than 100, then it fell to 50, and now they're asking that it be groups smaller than 10. They're encouraging organizations not to gather in any groups larger than 10. In fact, it's my understanding they're even starting to go into some restaurants and having them, kind of shut down certain sections of the restaurant to ensure that crowd size doesn't even grow beyond 10 people. It's interesting with all what's going on. I've not had the chance personally to hear a lot of this firsthand. So, maybe some of you guys out there across the Commonwealth and across the entire Republic can speak to some of these things. By the way, I've washed my hands. Y'all see me scratching my face. I've got a ton of ladybugs in here. So if you see me swatting or making sure things are off me, these ladybugs, they don't feel good when they bite you. So like I said, it's good luck for a ladybug all day long, but I'd rather they not be in here. But you also notice maybe the camera's a little bit different. We're trying a little bit of a different camera view tonight. So Wilson over here, he has my normal camera, and I wanted to give this one a shot. But we are glad to have him in the house. As we talk about what's happening more in Virginia, so something else you may or may not be aware of, in the Commonwealth, there was an order given this last week, actually. So today's Wednesday. Today Wednesday or today Tuesday? Today's Wednesday. Last week there was an order that they were going to shut down schools in the Commonwealth for 2 weeks. So we're now 3 days into that. So for me, fortunately, I've been able to work from home. At the moment, I do have the option of going in if there's something business critical that I need to go into. But even at my place of employment, we're being encouraged to use proper judgment and trying to as much as we can self-quarantine, keep that social distancing down. And quite frankly, I think it's really just a lot of good practice, even if it was major flu season, just to be completely honest. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I do want to point out that today was a really, really good day with the homeschooling and with the kids. We went over some geography today. We went over and did some, we did a little hike, got to get out and do a little bit of looking at trees, identifying tree types. I do on the farm here, I have a place where I've got a little weatherproof case where they keep a little journal. They've not done a journal entry in quite some time. I guess it's not as cool or as fun as it used to be, but we did get out today and do some journal entries. So we're keeping that front up. We hope we make our teachers here in Scott County proud as we all pull together as a community and try to continue to move forward. So on that note, something else, and again, this is going to be kind of winging it tonight, so I hope you guys don't mind. I don't really have a particular agenda to go by, but on the Scott County school notes, if there are anybody that's watching this in Scott County, or I'm sure other counties are doing this as well, but to pick particular in Scott County, if it's a difficult time for you to be able to get lunches for your children, this is certainly a time when families do not anticipate their kids being out of school. So, if you're at a point in time, particularly with a job loss, with what's going on, that you need to get your children meals, Scott County School Systems is providing meals. I believe it's at least 2, maybe 3 times a week. I apologize, I don't have that exact information. What I would encourage you to do there is, if you do still need some nutritional meals for your children, go to the Scott County the school's website. I would encourage you to go to your local school's website wherever your children attend. It is my understanding any children under the age of 18 can come by. There's different times they can pick up the meals. I know here in Hilton's, I believe it was just earlier today, they actually they're working with the local Methodist church, and they're distributing those lunches from that location. So it's just an easy pull-up location. That's why they chose that location. Plus, they also had some additional volunteers from the church that were able to work out. So I just want to say that, it's really, really great during this period to be able to see our community pull together like that. So I see Dexter Harmon posted Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you, Dexter. Dexter, if you know the times, if you could post those times, I'd greatly appreciate that. But so just please keep that in mind, guys. As this is a good time for all of us to pull together and remember that what keeps America strong is not our politicians. I don't care who I'd say it to. I'd say it to any politician. I'd say it to Donald Trump. It's not our politicians that make America great and strong and make us mighty. It's the people. It has always been the people of this country that's made it wonderful. So although this is a little bit maybe just certainly a disturbing time, particularly for those that have weakened immune system, elderly or young, that are particularly infected or particularly vulnerable to this virus strand. Apparently, I would just encourage you guys to look around you and find the good in the community. It's a good time for us to pull together. So that gives me a lot of encouragement. So, there's a lot of things also going around since we're talking about the virus. I know there's the potential for conspiracy theories. Some people are saying China did it. Some people are saying Democrats did it. So, I mean, we could go all day long and talk about what it might be. At the end of the day, where I come out on it is regardless of what you think it is, be respectful of everyone around you. It certainly, if or if you become one of the people that are infected by it, or particularly, suffer a death from this, then it's going to be very impactful to you. So, are there other viruses that have had much higher numbers? Absolutely. The flu, influenza kills more. It's my understanding from looking at records that the common cold every year even kills more. So I'm certainly no health CDC expert. I don't understand exactly why we're getting all the attention. Is it media hype? Is it something different? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and claim to know. I may have my own personal opinions, but either way, regardless, what I can say is if you objectively look at the situation, whatever it is, respect your neighbors, respect your friends, your family. Just try to respect what everybody's trying to do here, guys. If we keep our space down, if we knew the flu was going around, it's the same thing we would be doing with the flu. We would be trying to keep space. If we had the option to be able to work remotely, if we had the ability and the option to maybe, wash our hands more frequently or not be so socially interactive face to face and in people's personal space, we would probably do that. So again, I think it's certainly something to think about. So jumping back real quick, Dexter Harmon posted it's 10 to 12 most places that have those school lunches. So he posted it's 10 to 12. But again, for clarification, certainly check with your local school principal, and they should be able to help you out with that. So I want to touch a little bit on that and talk about what's happening with the homeschooling. So again, we know that that's happening all across the Commonwealth. Work with your neighbors, guys. Again, just try to be respectful. Try to help them out when it comes to items like that. It's kind of interesting doing the homeschooling. There are teacher resources. We know a lot of the teachers are doing some live streaming videos. In fact, earlier today, I think I even kind of stepped into one during our nature walk. We made a couple of videos for, I believe, a pre-K class. So talking about identifying oak trees, red oak trees, some different odds and ends things. So, just again, be mindful, use this as a time to kind of pull together a community and work together. So we did see earlier that, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it was that posted about Wisconsin. It was Veronica St. Clair talked about the National Guard being deployed in Wausau, Wisconsin. I just want to say that apparently we're getting some preliminary reports. This is secondary information, but it is from someone that I know personally. He's actually watching right now. That there's been discussion in Richmond about, are they going to deploy the National Guard? Are they going to do some sort of martial law? Can that be done at the state level? Can that be done? Is it only done at the federal level? Again, all these things, we don't know how this is going to play up, and I'm certainly not going to be one here to try to cause any additional hysteria to what we're already dealing with. But what I would say is, again, just be respectful, use some common sense, don't hoard. There's no need to go buy 10,000 rolls of toilet paper. Just get what you need to use for the next couple of days. When you go out, if you pull up and it's just completely crowded and completely packed, maybe you turn around and go somewhere else, right? So just keep that in mind as well. So also want to just mention real quickly, I hope y'all don't mind me kind of giving a little bit of a plug here, but our church, Darth Little Baptist Church, right up the road from here, is going to be doing its first ever live broadcast this Sunday for church services. Okay, so that's okay. Okay, so Jason was going to put the link on there, but that's okay. We'll find the link later. I might be able to dig here around and figure it out here in a second too. Absolutely. So, but if you do a search, and I'm going to try to see if I can find it real quick. Here's your channel. I think I might be able to get here. Here we go. Copy. I'm gonna, and then on top, and as I'm clicking off here, let me see if this posts my comment. Let's see here. Paste. Let's just hit paste and say chat. See if that link worked. Hey, there we go. There's one on there. Okay, I think that's the link for the channel. Let me know if that link works, Jason. View as subscriber. That's kind of I guess that was my internal link. I hope that's all right to try that. But no, that's fine. That's cool. Leave it up there. That's cool. You can. That says so. That's posted from Scott County, Virginia Gun Owners. But that's our church channel. I'm only putting this out there, guys, because I would encourage all of y'all, if you have a church group, again, they're asking us to keep the groups down. A lot of what they're trying to do with this self-quarantine, it's not going to work unless we do things together, right? So the only thing I would say there is, I don't want to show it as a banner there. I don't know how to. There we go. So it just shows us a comment. There we go. Try to be mindful of that, right? If you have the ability to do a live stream or maybe on Facebook, try to do that. So again, Darth Little, we just did our first live one earlier with my father-in-law. He mentioned about it, did about a 16-minute video, talked about how we're going to be moving forward and how it's going to work on Sunday. So if you don't have a home church, or maybe your home church is closed down for the weekend, and with all what's going on, we'd love to have you guys join us. So just a quick shout out to them on that particular one. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I did want to talk about a couple of upcoming events. So there's three, I guess, big things I want to throw out. So we've talked about on the channel here before that we were going to be doing a gun giveaway. I want to let you know, I think we do believe all the tickets are sold. We sold 150 tickets. There may be just a handful left. So they're already in the hands of our administrators getting those passed out. We've still got to do a little bit more collecting on the money. But we will be coming live when it comes time to do the drawing for that firearm. So quick shout out to all the administrators that have been working on that, getting those tickets put out. It's Liberty Gun and Pawn Shop is the shop where the firearm will be. If you win in that drawing, you'll have to go there and pick it up. But it is an AR. So I believe it's a Palmetto State Armory AR-15. And there's a set of attachable top sights, open sights for the rifle as well. So that was a very, very good thing. I'm very excited about that. I want to mention we're going to have that coming up. That'll be obviously a very, very short video when that draw comes up. Another big item I want to throw out there. This is kind of big. We've been working on this one for a while. Finally been able to put it together. Friday, so that's going to be Friday. Today's the 18th, so it should be the 20th. Friday, March 20th at 1 p.m. Now, it's a little bit of an odd time, but it's 1 p.m. Eastern. So again, that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be interviewing Amanda Chase. We've been really looking forward to this conversation. So if you don't know who Amanda Chase is, it's Senator Amanda Chase. She's a state senator in Virginia, and she has already announced that she's going to be running for governor. There's been a lot of hype and a lot of just a lot of, I guess, really quite honestly, a lot of excitement about a lot of folks. We've seen that in our group. We see a lot of things here in Southwest Virginia talking about her. And we've just been looking forward to the opportunity to have a conversation with her, to get to know her better, to understand her more about her platform. She's certainly, from her commercials and from what she's talked about, she's very much a pro-2A individual. She's very much a pro-life individual. So we're excited to have her. Again, that's going to be Friday, March 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that time's a little bit odd, but her calendar's certainly kind of full with everything going on in her calendar. And that was just the only time we were able to put that together. So we're looking forward to that. That'll probably run 45 minutes to an hour, be my guess, probably an hour. Y'all know how I am. But we have a lot of good questions for her, and we're certainly looking forward to the conversation. We know it's going to be a great chance to know a little bit more about her, hear about some of her platform that she's going to be running on, and how she hopes to be able to have a positive influence for all of those in the Commonwealth. Another exciting thing I want to announce is going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't know if any of the guys are watching right now, but we have been fortunate to have pretty quick assembly of this. Just a couple of days ago, I reached out to some different contacts across Southwest Virginia. So if you're not familiar with Southwest Virginia, we are, of course, coming to you from Scott County. Neighboring counties, we've got Lee County, Wise County, the other ones around the area. We've got Washington County, another neighboring county. There's Buchanan County, Smith County, Wythe County. There's several different ones. We have been fortunate enough to hear back from several contacts in several of those different counties, and we are going to be having a multi-panel discussion. So coming up probably in the next couple of weeks. I don't have a date nailed down yet. There's still a couple of contacts that I'm waiting to hear back from. But I think once we have that, we're probably going to have 6, 7, maybe 8 people on a panel discussion. We've got one of the local sheriffs from one of those counties that's also expressed an interest in getting involved. But most of these groups are groups like our group that are pro-Second Amendment groups. And I just thought it was a good opportunity, good idea for our folks here in Scott County, as well as across the Commonwealth and across the Republic, to hear about some of the other things that are going on in different counties. We're certainly all working on different things. As you guys know, for me personally, here in Scott County, our group is working on some things on the education front. We're working on things with the Board of Supervisors. We're continuing to push around registration and voting. I'm just anxious to hear what other counties are working on. And I think it'll be a good opportunity maybe to get a little bit more coordination in the entire region. Something I'd love to see maybe, once a quarter, maybe even do a large panel discussion and maybe have, gosh, we get to the point we'd have all of Virginia, maybe a representative from each county, maybe do a 2-show series, right? Half the state one day, half the state the next. I'd love that. I think it'd just be a great chance to, again, have citizens like you, like me. We're all equal. This is our channel. It's our venue. It's a good chance while we're all locked up at home to still reach out and have a conversation and talk about it. So be looking out for that 6-panel discussion, 6, 8, 10. Well, I said 6. I don't know exactly how many people it'll be. We are supposed to also, in case y'all don't know who he is, but we have heard from the president of VCDL, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, Philip Van Cleve. He's expressed an interest that he would also like to be on that panel. So we will certainly work around his schedule to make sure that he can be in attendance. So we're excited to have him on there as well. I think it's going to be a great conversation. And again, this is all around trying to get you guys more definitive, actionable information. We want to be a good resource for you guys and let you know what's going on in the front, what you can do to help, and what's being done to help defend your rights. So we're excited about that. Jason, is there anything else I'm kind of forgetting about here? I'm just kind of winging this.
Doing very good. I think sounds good. Covering everything, covering bases.
Are there any questions? I guess let's throw out there any questions. I see Josh is on. Josh Dickinson. So he commented there, looking forward to it. Josh is from Wise County. Josh will be representing Wise County in this discussion, this panel discussion. We certainly are looking forward to that. I'm going to take this chance just real quick, guys, to go ahead and throw this out there as well. Just a quick plug for our channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe down below. You can click the little bell icon and hit notifications. That'll notify you anytime we make a new video. We're going to try to get into a cadence where we're maybe doing a video maybe once a week. Obviously with things going on with the school and working from home, that may not always be possible. We're going to do our best to try to get you a video at least once a week. Share this video. We'd certainly appreciate that. I also just want to go ahead and say this too, that from a perspective of if the channel ever does get monetized, it's a question that's came up. If we ever get monetization on this channel, guys, it's going to go right back into the county. I have no desire, nobody, not myself or any of the admins, have no desire to make any money on this channel. We've said if we did it, we would use it either for the cause, distributing flyers, trying to get people to help get encouraged about voting, getting registered to vote. We might do a donation to the local, battered women's shelter or food shelters, food kitchens, something like that. So if it ever gets to that point in time, that's what we'll do with that. So great question from David Fodder. What's going on with the recall? That's a great question, David. I'm glad you asked that. I don't have a lot of information at the moment. The last I had heard from Amanda Chase's campaign was that they were going to open an investigation on the governor, because before a recall can occur, there has to be some evidence of breaking the law, essentially, right? You have to find him guilty of breaking some law. And I think we all can agree that he certainly infringed upon our second, but I guess there's a legislative judicial process, not legislative, but a judicial process that has to go through. So I think that's something we'll certainly have a conversation with Senator Chase on Friday about and ask her where that stands. So David, I would encourage you, if at all possible, tune in Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can, if not, certainly catch the follow-up. I'm sure we'll have a great conversation. So she's perfectly in the right seat to be able to have a conversation about that and what's going on that front. So let's see here. Any other questions? I don't believe there was any other questions. Jason, were there?
No, we're good.
I don't think I have anything else. I don't think there's, I mean, every guy's, I'll tell you what, I do want to flip over. I want to show this real quickly. I'm going to share my screen. See how this works if I do this. Share my screen. Over here, I want you to see more of the screen. I want to share this right here. There was a video of Ben Shapiro. I know most of you guys probably know him. It was an interesting video that he put out. I'm sure he probably put the link here somewhere. I think it was the Washington Post have these infection models and strategies on how to combat the coronavirus. And I thought it was a really interesting video. I'll probably play it here just real quickly, but it was really good, the visualization. You've heard about them talking about the coronavirus and how what they're trying to do is reduce that bell curve because they don't want to overload the health care system, right? So I'm just going to let this play for just a minute. I know he's talking. I'm going to let him talk. We'll just let this play for just a moment.
That, and I can explain what's happening. So you can see there's this one sick person.
I want to say real quick, I do know the red dots are or orange dots are the infected people. So you can see this count is 4. The grayish blue dots are the healthy people, and recovered will be in purple. But this is to show a simulation of if this particular first one is change over time if they did nothing, if we didn't quarantine, if we didn't separate. So as you see those red dots expand, this is a reasonable representation of the population, and you can see how fast it spreads throughout the population. So I'm going to let this play for just a moment. You can see.
Starts infecting people almost immediately. Now all the people are infecting all the other people. And what you see is very, very quickly, the sickness spreads throughout the entire population. You can see on the top of the graphic, this is why you should subscribe to Daily Wire so you can actually see what we're talking about. You can see at the top of the graphic, this big bell curve, and the bell curve quickly spikes all the way to the top of the chart before finally starting to drop off as people start recovering. Now, what these charts do not include is the number of people who die. So those people are no longer infectious, obviously, but it's a fairly good simulation of what exactly this stuff looks like if there are no restrictions in place at the time. So this was able to spread quickly over an entire population.
So I thought that was a great representation. I'm going to skip forward a little bit here. You can go out on the website. I found it earlier today where you can actually see these simulations, and you can set up different simulations yourself. Now, this particular one you see, it's showing Ben here on the left from a back shot, but he's showing that if they quarantined off part of the population, right? So this would be the general population you see here on the right. I hope that's showing up okay on the camera. Let me just go here and make it full screen. I think that might, well, if I do that, then I think I'm going to disappear. Am I going to disappear? No, I'm still going. I believe I'm still going. Give me a 1 real quick if you guys can still hear me real quick. Let's see here. Give me a 1 real quick in the comments if you guys can still hear me. I sure hope not. Let's see here. Can you guys give me a comment 1 in the screen there if you can still hear me? I don't know if they hear me or not. It still shows me. Oh, it says I'm good. There we go, Glenn. Thank you very much. Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to try to get this full size for you. I'm going to let him narrate again, but he's talking about what happens if again, they take a different strategy. And particularly what's important is watch this bell curve on the top here.
Particular model is that as the door opens, right, as you start to get beyond the attempted quarantine, then some of the sick people are going to escape, and then they're going to start infecting the population. And then you get this sort of secondary spike where all of a sudden a lot of people are getting the infection, but you've seen that the curve has been flattened. So the idea here would be sort of what the United States is trying. Everybody stay home. Now that you are staying home, the curve is rising, but rising later. And so the idea is because the curve here is flatter, then presumably the number of beds that are built in the meantime are going to relieve pressure on the healthcare system. Now that only works if you actually raise the number of beds that are available.
So you see the bell curve he's talking about here, guys. Before there was a huge bell curve. Now you see this bell curve. There's kind of 2 humps. But the idea he's talking about there is that there's this progression where they kind of they expand that curve out so it's not as high. And I just go here. I believe he shows 1 more here where he shows a little bit different representation.
A lot more slowly, like a lot more slowly.
This is a different one where he's talking about if people, mind their social distancing and they don't move. I won't show any more here, but I would encourage you, if you can go out and watch Ben's show. It was a really, really good representation. He does talk about where this off. I believe it was the Washington Post. You can go to their website, but I think that does a good job, really, of. Sorry, I muted myself out there for a minute. Does a good job of explaining what they're trying to do with this particular, with the quarantining, self-quarantining, closing down schools. It's trying to just break it out, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that overall it's going to save the number of infected people. It may be the exact same number of people that get infected. It's just you spread that out over time, and then it alleviates it. So I think it's worth mentioning. Thank you for all the ones. I see them all there. Wes, great to see you. Let's see here. I want to skip back up because there were some questions that came in there. Josh Dickinson says, any thoughts to Mark Levine's post when he said, be careful, your First Amendment is limited just like your second? Well, what can I say about Mark Levine? I mean, it was actually interesting. I actually got him to reply to a comment I made on one of his Facebook posts here about a couple days ago, a week ago, something like that. The man has no ability to look at things logically, because the question that I put on his page was a logical question, and all he did was literally put a laughing sign with a big question mark. So either he was too ignorant to understand a plain, very clear and concise question, or he prefers to just laugh at someone that asks an honest question, or I think it's probably the last, which he realizes the logic that I was presenting to him shows the dilemma of the actions that he's taking and the problem that it's going to create for our society. And he instead chooses just to laugh it off and ignore it. That's about all I can say about that, Josh. So, I mean, he's I hate to use the term, he's kind of an idiot. And pardon the term, guys, I try not to call folks out on this channel, but he's just really kind of an idiot. I mean, that's just all I guess I can say about him. I mean, he's very ignorant. I think we know that. Bless his heart. I feel bad for people that don't take the time to go out and try to learn something before they put legislation on something. He has proven time and time again his ignorance when it comes to the Second Amendment. To say your First Amendment is limited, I would assume what he's meaning by that is you can't go out and just threaten people. You can actually. In fact, let me rephrase that. You can go threaten people, but there's repercussions for that. Okay. Now, some people say that's the limit of your First Amendment right, your freedom of speech. What I say to that is, no, you actually have a choice. You can say that as long as you live with the repercussions. So if we apply that to the Second Amendment, that says you should be able to get whatever firearm you want, fully automatic firearm. By the way, it is legal to get a fully automatic firearm. It's another common misconception. We saw that conversation between Biden and the Michigan steel worker who said, he can't get a fully automatic firearm. It's illegal. No, it's not. You can get a fully automatic firearm. It takes a certain level of class of a $200 tax stamp, and of course a lot of money, because fully automatic firearms have to have been manufactured before 1986. But they're perfectly legal to get if you do all the paperwork. So what I would say there is, if we take that, what he's talking about with the First Amendment, I can go out and I can threaten somebody, but there's repercussions. If I buy a firearm and I go use it for harm, there should be repercussions, but I should still have the right to buy that firearm. And so I think that's a comment I would welcome a debate against him, because I think it'd be like having a conversation with a 2-year-old. It'd be easy to show the fallacy of his logic. He obviously has no ability to reason. Just plain Jane. I mean, you should be able to buy whatever firearm you want, and if you do something wrong with it, then you should have repercussions. That's what I would say. No one is following us around, and as soon as you start to say hate speech, covering your mouth and saying, no, you can't say that. It doesn't work that way. So it's a nonsense analogy. Let's see here. David is saying, I heard today that they expect this to last 18 months. I'm only prepared for 12. It's going to be interesting to see how this lasts. I mean, not only with the schools. So the schools are out for 2 weeks. There's some potential rumors going around that the schools are going to be shut down for longer than 2 weeks. How will that have an impact on citizens and their ability to be able to maintain things at home? It's going to be interesting to see. So, Aaron Duncan, great to see you online. I'm glad to see you there. Aaron, I'll just call him out because I know he's one of the guys that bought some tickets. Aaron, I hope you win that firearm. The definition of an educated idiot. Well, that's true, and I've pointed out many times that, guys, I know a lot, and this may bother some people, but I know a lot of highly educated, stupid people. I mean, I don't know how else to say that, Jason. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. There's a lot of people that are uneducated that are stupid too. Okay, I mean, I tell people, guys, you can go look at a group of lawyers. You can find bad ones. Go look at groups of doctors. You can find bad ones. Go look at rich people. You can find bad ones. Go look at poor people. You can find bad ones. Every group has its rotten apples. Okay, so that's nothing against people that don't have whatever education. I don't care. I know some of the smartest people I've known that have just such good common sense had 4th grade educations, 3rd grade educations, and you could sit down with them and they knew how to reason. They knew how to logically come to a conclusion. They knew math. They knew numbers. They were self-educated. So there's nothing wrong with that. Let me just say that. I want to be very, very clear on that. The definition of educate, yes. Oh, so anyways, any other questions? Book smart's not taking a lanking of common sense. Book smart, and not an inkling of common sense. Yes, Cindy, I agree. There's a lot of really educated idiots out there. I think that's a good way of putting it, Josh. I think I like that term. Just look at Joe Biden. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think Joe is, bless his heart. He's not only an educated idiot, he's also, I really believe he's having some dementia or something kicking in. Y'all may not like me since we need to pray for Joe because he's really got some issues. I mean, I really feel bad for the guy. He was what? He was one at his presidential campaign. He says, I'm running for senator.
Yeah. When he
He couldn't remember. Did you all see the video where he was talking and he says, when I was working for my boss, he couldn't even thank President Obama. He couldn't even think of his name. So, yeah, he's going to take our AR-14s. That's exactly right, David. There was a video that worker, they came out with the video. I hadn't seen it yet. I saw it. I shared it to my channel. I hadn't had a chance to go back and watch it, but it was about the AR-14s. They made some AR-14s or something. I don't know, something kind of silly. But all right, guys, listen, we're over the 30-minute mark. I was wanting to keep this short. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, just to point out, I want to just throw out some last pitches here. Friday, March 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be interviewing Senator Amanda Chase. She has announced that she is going to be running for governor in 2021. So we're looking forward to that conversation. It's going to be a great conversation. We're going to get to learn a lot about Amanda. I believe it was David, you were asking earlier about the recall. We'll get an update from her on the recall. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great point. Look for the coming weeks. We're going to have a panel discussion. That's going to happen. You all saw that Josh was watching tonight. He's going to be part of that panel discussion. We've also going to be having Philip Van Cleve, the president of the VCDL, has expressed that he would like to be part of that conversation as well. So I think it's going to be a great, informative panel discussion on who knows what number of topics. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Second Amendment. Who knows what other comments or other topics we're going to talk about. But we're looking forward to all that. As always, guys, I'm just going to ask you one more time. If you don't care, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification button. We're still working to get over that 1,000 limit. We got up to over 600 in like 1 week during lobby week. So we certainly appreciated that. But guys, to the degree that you guys can share this thing out, if we can get over 1,000, the purpose of that is it makes it easier for us to do live streams mobile when we're on our mobile devices. We don't have to do backdoor kind of things to try to make that work and little tricks of the trade. So we really want to get past that 1,000 mark. It'll help us out. And again, the whole point of all this is to bring information to you. So the more you share this to your friends, hopefully they find this information useful. And we certainly hope it is something that's useful. We've always said the moment that it's not useful is the moment that we need to wrap it all up. So, all right. Well, guys, I'm going to close out with a word of prayer. I always try to have my Bible with me. I don't always, I believe, have it here. Unfortunately, sometimes I'll leave it in another room or at the house somewhere else. But I'm going to go ahead and close this out in prayer. So just real briefly. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just want to thank you again, Lord, for this opportunity. Lord, thank you for being here tonight, Lord, and supplying this technology, Lord, and this ability to be able to come here and just have a little bit of conversation, Lord, try to spread some information to make sure that all the folks that are, kind of locked up in quarantine, so to speak, can get a little bit of knowledge of what's still going on. Lord, I just ask that you would just bless all those that ever watch this video, Lord, and that don't even, Lord. This is a time in our country, it's a trying time for whatever the reasons are that's driving a lot of what's happening right now. God, we know you know it all. We know there are people here that know some of it. But Lord, we know that you are almighty. You know every single bit of it. And Lord, we just ask that whatever happens, Lord, let it be your will. Lord, whatever we do, let it be your will. Lord, whatever you have us to do, let us have the courage to go do what you would have us to do. Father, just ask that you would just bless all those that are watching, all those sick and afflicted. Lord, those that maybe have the scare of having to get tested. We know there's some folks that we know personally here in our area that are having to be tested, Lord, because of the potential of being exposed to the coronavirus. And Father, just ask that you again just watch over everybody, watch over the sick and afflicted, keep everyone healthy and safe. Lord, let us all be respectful, as you talk about, as Paul talks about in Corinthians, Father, in your word, doing things with charity, Lord. Let us be mindful of that, regardless of how we feel about this, Lord. We may not be scared about it. We may think it's silly, and that's okay. That's all right. That's our opinion. But Lord, there are people that are truly, honestly fearful for this. They may know someone that's died from it. They may know someone that's infected, Lord. Let's all be respectful of one another. And instead of just trying to go out and put our opinion on other people, just be respectful and do things out of love. Father, I just ask once again that you bless everybody, keep us all healthy and safe, and all these things in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I hope this was something tonight that was something y'all got a little bit out of. I'm looking forward to the upcoming shows. Hope to see you guys there. Till next time, stay safe, fight the good fight, keep your firearms close. Guys, keep God closer. Read that holy word, guys. Check it out. Hopefully we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys Friday, and then maybe we'll see you at church online. Maybe come this coming Sunday at 11 a.m. with Darthula Baptist Church. I'm just going to throw it out there in case you guys don't have another home church. I've thrown out some others. Truth for Life is another one that I've watched on YouTube. So guys, if you don't have the opportunity to be out, there's multiple online options. Be sure to check those out as well if you don't catch us Friday. So anyways, until next time, guys. Catch you later again. Stay safe. Fight the good fight. Keep your firearms close. Keep God closer. See you guys. Take care. God bless.